Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video we're gonna be working on this granny stitch sweater. So as you can see, we're kind of playing with how we put the orders of the colors here, or how we place the colors, but it's absolutely up to you how you want to do this. Again, as I always say, you're gonna choose the colors of your choice, and you can choose to do one solid color or multiple colors. It's absolutely up to you. But yeah, I'm playing with just doing the colors a little bit different like this, so each sleeve is a different color from the body of the sweater. And yeah, so this is what we're gonna be working on. I would say also, I have some yarn left of these three colors. Try to check the channel. I may be doing the skirt to go along with it, and I may do a mini skirt because I already have a long skirt that I did with the granny stitch. So I may do a short skirt to go along with this, so look out for that. Yeah. All right, so before we go ahead and get started, I'm gonna grab all the materials that we need for it so we can go ahead and get started. See you guys in a bit. Okay my lovelies, so before we get this project started, I'm gonna show you the materials that I'm using for it. And as you can see, I'm using these three colors, as you've obviously seen on the final project. These are the three colors that I'm going to be using. I have my gray, kind of dark gray here. It's from Azurite, 100% acrylic, and it's a lightweight number 3. And these two are both from Hobby, classic acrylic as well, and they're also lightweight number 3. These are all about 50 grams per skein, and the same thing with this. So I don't usually tell colors because in a lot of these companies they actually give a color number as opposed to a color name. But I'm just gonna say we have our dark gray here, we have our I guess like uh, pink and then light pink. So these are the colors that we're going to be using. Recommended hook size is usually between 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook, but I'm going to be using a 5. It's just easier for me when I do the granny stitch to use a 5 millimeter crochet hook or H8 US. I have my threading needle here. I have my some of the stitch markers. I have my scissors as well as a tape measure. So this is what I'm going to be using. You obviously can use different colors. You can use one solid color for this project. You can use many different colors if you want to. I am just showing you what I'm using. And for my size, I am between small and medium. So a lot of people ask me what size the project that I make is. I don't actually go by size so much because I go by your measurements, because I've realized with crochet, if you say this is a small, small can come in various ways. Like there's people who can wear a small that are extremely thin, and the people who are a little bit bigger than that that can still wear small. So it really just depends. So I go by the measurements that you get to that you do to get your size. But if you want to know what size is, I usually do a small medium. Okay. All right, so that's all the materials that we need for this project. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay my lovelies, so I'm gonna start with the gray color here. I hope with the black background here you will be able to see properly, but I will be able to show these in a little bit of a close-up so you see what I'm doing. But as you have seen in the photos, I do the body of the sweater is in this dark gray, and then the two different colors, the two different shades of pink are each for one of the sleeves. So we're gonna go ahead and do the body panels. We're gonna end up doing 4 panels all together. The back and the front panel are exactly the same, and then we have the 2 sides of the arms, or the 2 arms. So we have the 4 panels. Okay, so I just leave a little bit of a string hanging to be able to join our work later. But I will go ahead and start by doing the bottom of the sweater, which is the band. So I do my slip knot just like that, and then I'll do a chain of 11. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 and 11. And this is going to be the width of your band or the bottom of the sweater. So it's up to you if you want to make it wider than that, increase the number of chains. If you want to make it narrower than that, decrease the number of chains. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started by skipping this the first stitch here where the working yarn is coming through, and we're gonna go directly into the next stitch, but we're gonna go in the back loop to complete our single crochet, and just like that. Okay, and then we're gonna go into the next stitch and complete a single crochet in the back loop, and then we're going to do that again in the next stitch, and we're going to do this all the way down to the 10th stitch. And we have 10 stitches because we skipped the 11th one to be able to start this row here. And for the band, you will be working with 10 stitches until the end of your band, okay? And this is either going to be a front panel or the back panel, but because they're exactly identical, it doesn't really matter whether it's a back or front. You just want two identical panels at the end of it, at the end of the day, for the back and the front. Okay, so I'm just coming up to my final stitch here, and this is my final stitch, my 10th stitch, and that completes our first row of the band, okay, or the bottom of the sweater. And then we're going to do a chain one, and this chain one does not count as a stitch. We're going to flip our work like this, or turn, and then we're going to go right into the very first stitch there and complete a back loop single crochet. And then we're going to do that in the next stitch as well. So we go to the back and complete a single crochet in the back loop, okay, and then we're going to do the same until we have one stitch left. And in that final stitch, we go through both loops. And this is a preference for me. You can do it by going through the back loops for all of your stitches. But for me, I finish it off by doing, by going through both loops for that final stitch, just to make it nice and it looks straight and it looks nice and steady. Okay, so I'm finishing this stitch, this row here. I'm coming up to the last, almost second last stitch now. I will show you how I go through the back of the both loops for the final stitch, which is this stitch here. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab both loops like that, and then complete my single crochet, and then chain one again. Remember, it doesn't count as a stitch, and then just repeat, and then you just continue to do this again. You go in the back loop and complete single crochets, and you should have 10 stitches. Make sure you're keeping an eye on that. Don't skip a stitch by accident, or do 2 stitches in one stitch by accident, because you will either end up increasing or decreasing, and that can change how this part of the project looks. So every so often you can always count to make sure you still have 10 stitches, and if you don't, go back to see where you had lost a stitch or added a stitch. Okay, so again, we just continue doing this back and forth until you have what you need. So what I mean by what you need is, we need 2 panels. So the first thing that you will want to do is measure the circumference of your waist. So normally I just do it right across my belly button. I measure the circumference of it, and then whatever I get there, I can add stitches, I can add inches based on how loose I want my sweater to be. And then when you have that, you will be able to make this part of the band to be half of that, because your circumference will be the complete circle. If you cut that in a half, you make one of these to be half of that, because we have to make the back and the front. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same for me here. When I have the number of rows that I need for the half of my circumference of my waist, then I'm gonna come back to the video. Okay, I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the length that I want here, the half of my circumference here. So these here, let me just measure to see, but the circumference of my waist is about 26 inches, and so I needed to do half of that, so I should have about 13, maybe a little bit higher, give and take. So it's about 13 and a quarter. Okay, so 13 and a quarter is enough. It's half of my circumference. I didn't add any for looseness because this is very stretchy, and this is what I wanted to be a little bit on, kind of like a fitted foam, in a fitted foam. So I didn't want to add too many inches that would make it on the loose side. So just by the stretch alone, it's gonna fit comfortably, and I don't have to worry about it hugging me too much and being a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, so this is I did about 60 rows here, so which means I will do exact same for the second panel. But now that I have done that, we're gonna start working on the actual work. So right straight from here, I'm gonna do a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and this chain of 3 counts as a double crochet, and I'm going to go into that same stitch here, or into the same gap right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 more double crochets into that same gap to make it a granny stitch. Okay, so I have my 3 double crochets into the same gap. It's not a stitch, so I just call it gap because we don't have stitches to work with at this moment. Just something like that, okay? And then I'm gonna go into this gap right here, into this space, and I'm gonna complete 3 double crochets there. So in other words, creating another granny stitch in that gap. And it's not a stitch because we don't have stitches, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and complete another granny stitch in on here. Okay, so I'm just gonna go into that gap and complete another granny stitch. And it's a little bit gappy here, but yeah, no, let's change that. We're gonna go into the valley here again. So the valley is where we're gonna put our stitches, and we're gonna go ahead and complete a granny stitch, so 3 double crochets in that same gap. And then we're gonna move on to the next valley here and do the same, 3 double crochets, and then into the next here. And at this point, it depends, you can either gap it so that it's a little bit too gappy, or you can gap it the way I'm doing it here. As you can see, the gaps are not too much, it's just enough. And it's also going to create it so that we have a little bit of an outward looking part of this project here, okay? And you don't want it to be too narrow, because you want it to be able to still come up to the widest part of your chest, your bust area, and be able to fit comfortably. So I'm gonna work my granny stitches into every valley. I call them valleys, or like the part that kind of dents from this project. So just in every one of these, go ahead and put your granny stitches there. And then when you've completed this row, come back to the video and I will show you the next part of the project, okay? See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovely, so I've completed the first row here. So as you can see, I did my granny stitches just across the panel here. I didn't go into the last one here because I wanted to show you how to finish it off. So I'm gonna obviously go ahead and just work my, and as you can see, there's this gap here. I'm gonna go into that gap to complete my 3 double crochets, which is the last granny stitch for this row, like this, okay? Just like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna turn like this, and I'm gonna skip right into this gap. So skip these 3 double crochets and right into the next gap here and complete 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm gonna skip these 3 stitches and go into the next gap here and complete my 3 double crochets. So my next granny stitch right there. Okay, and I'm just gonna continue doing that all across until I get back to here. So do your 3 double crochets here and then come back, because I'll show you how to complete one final stitch before we start the third row, okay? So I'll see you guys when you've completed your granny stitches here. Okay, my lovely, so I have completed the second row, and as you can see, I just came to the very end here. I have done my granny stitch here. So I'm gonna show you how to complete the final stitch here, and we're just gonna yarn over, and that chain 3 that we started the row with previously, we're gonna go on top of that chain 3, and we're gonna go ahead and complete a double crochet. So this is gonna stay like this, which is kind of emulating the beginning of this row, where it's just this double crochet at the beginning like that, okay? And then to start the third row, we're gonna do a chain of 3 and then turn, and then so this counts as a double crochet. And then in that first gap here, we're gonna go ahead and complete 2 more double crochets to make it a granny stitch, just like that. And then we're gonna move on now to this gap here and complete 3 double crochets, just like we have been doing. And then you just work the rest of the row by doing your granny stitches across until you get to the other end, okay? So nothing too complicated here, nothing too difficult to do. So just go ahead and complete your granny stitches across for your third row. and then when you get to this area here, so after you do your 3 double crochets here, you're going to skip right to the end and do your 3 double crochets at the end, and then start by doing a chain of 3 and then skipping and doing your and just repeating. So you're going to be repeating these two rows that we did here over and over. So there's the first row and then the second, and you repeat that again and again. Okay, so now work this until you have the length of the sweater that you would like. So if you want this to be a crop sweater, stop it at the length that you think is appropriate for a crop sweater, or the length of the crop. And if you want it to be a longer sweater, then work until you get that. So when you have the panel completed, which is the length you want, then come back to the video, and I will talk about how we do the second panel as well as how to start the sleeves. Okay, so I will see you guys when you complete this panel. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed one of my first panels here. So as you can see, I have just that amount. I'm just gonna measure it so you guys can see. I think I did about 30 rows so far here. So I'm just gonna quickly measure to see. So I have about 14, almost, yeah, 14, a little bit under 14 inches. And that's enough. And I also come back here now to show you a little bit of a change from what I thought I was gonna do. So I was gonna just leave the neckline like this, where it's just straight, and we join the second panel, and we would have a neckline like this. But I've changed my mind a little bit. I'm allowed to do that, okay? Anyways, this is when you freestyle projects like I do. There's a lot of changes that I make throughout the work that I wasn't anticipating. So in this case here, I was anticipating just doing a neckline that was straight, but obviously I have changed my mind on that, okay? So with that said, so what I will actually do here, I think I will just kind of elevate a little bit of each of the sides here for both the back and the front panel, just to have a neckline that kind of dips in a little bit. So what I will do for that is, as you can see, I'm just gonna finish this row here. And then, so what I will do for the second row is, I think I will just kind of do about 2 to 3 rows here. So let's say maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like just something up to here. And then I'll do the same on the other side. So to do that, I just start like normal. So I'll do my chain of 3 and turn. And then I will go into this gap here and do my 3 double crochets, which is my cluster of 3 double crochets. So that would be the first. And then I will go into the second here and do the same thing. And so for you, you will determine if this is what you want to do, by the way. If this is not at all in your in your preference, then you just leave your neckline as a straight, but just make sure you do the length of each panel that is suitable for your sweater, and that's going to be the length of your sweater. How long does it go down your body, okay? And but if you want to follow this, then this is where you will kind of tune into this portion of the tutorial to see how to just do something. It's very simple. So I have, maybe let's do one more so that it's about, and as you can see, I didn't even measure to see how much, but I just know that I don't want it to be something that goes too deep. I don't want it to go too deep like this. So I think that amount here is enough. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe actually just like this. I'm not sure exactly, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. And then what we will do is I will just go ahead and do the second row of the elevated part of it here. And I will do maybe, as I can see right now, just 1 row is not obviously enough. I probably will end up doing 3. And then, so to do that, I will go ahead and do a chain of 3 here and turn and work the other way. So I will go into here and do my 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Then I will move on to this section and do 3 double crochets. Whoops. So I will do 3 double crochets here, 2 and 3. Then I'll move on to here and do 3 double crochets. Okay. And then I will move on to the next part here at the end. So this is our chain 3 that we started the previous row with, and complete 3 double crochets. Okay, just something like that. Then I will do a third one by doing chain 3, turn, and then I will complete 3 double crochets in the next chain, in the next gap after the 3 stitches, and then I'll move on to the next space here and do 3 more. And I will go ahead and do 3 more here. And then I'll finish it off by going into the chain 3 part from the previous row to complete remaining 3 double crochets for this row. And I think that will be enough here. So it's up to you how much elevation on the neckline you want, or how much of this area here you want to be. But I think for me, doing 3 rows is enough, because keep in mind you're gonna do 3 for the next panel as well. So it's gonna actually be 6 total here, but 3 in the front of your chest, so going towards your collar, going towards the top of your shoulder. This is gonna be what you need here. Okay, my lovelies, so I just did the 3 rows here. So I just kind of went off camera quickly because I increased by just doing 1 more. Not that it was gonna make too much of a difference now that I look at it, but instead of doing 5 of the granny stitches, I ended up doing the 6th one. But there's no big deal with this at all. So in terms of the difference, just now looking at it, doesn't make too much of a difference, but I'm gonna keep it at this. So, and for this, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the yarn because I'm done increasing on this side, and then I'm gonna do like a chain 1 to kind of emulate a slip stitch, and then close that off like this. And then I will flip my work and go on to the other side, so the opposite side here, and I'm gonna do a slip knot just like this. And then I'm gonna go on top of the chain 3 that we created for this row, and I'm gonna go in and bring my loop through, so just something like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do a chain of 3, so 1 2 3, and then I'm gonna skip these 3 double crochets here, and in the gap I'm gonna go ahead and do my cluster of 3 double crochets. Okay, so 2 and 3, and then I'm gonna go into the next stitch, into the next gap, so skip 3 double crochets, and then in the next gap next to it do your 3 double crochets, and then repeat the same thing in the next spot. So 1 2 and 3, and then go ahead and skip to the next part here. 1 2 and 3, and I'll make sure I have the number of rows I need. 1 2 3 4, 1 more. So we're gonna go into the next spot and do 3 double crochets again. Okay, and then we will do a chain of 3 and turn. Okay, and then we'll do our second row here. So again, we skip the 3 double crochets, and in the next gap we go ahead and do our 3 double crochets. Okay, and then we do the same in the next gap right here. We skip the 3 double crochets and go ahead and complete 3 double crochets in this space, and then in the next, okay, whoopsie, and then we do the final row, that is the third. So again, if you're doing obviously 3 rows of the elevated section of your sweater here. If you're not, then if you're doing more, then you obviously do the number that you like or you want. And if you're not doing this at all, then this part of the whole tutorial is useless for you. Okay, and then chain 3, so 1 2 3, and then we're gonna do the final row. Okay, so I'm doing this for both of the panels. So after we finish this right now, we're gonna go ahead and pretty much start the second panel by repeating what we just did here. And then when you have 2 of your panels, body panels completed, which is front and back, then you're kind of done this part of the project. And then we do the sleeves. And we're gonna obviously do the neckline, so we're gonna work on the neckline at the end. And that's gonna be the very last thing that we do for this project, but there's still the sleeves to be done. So I'm gonna obviously show you how to do the sleeves, so at least to do one of the panel, because the second panel is a repeat of exactly the first. Okay, so I'm coming to an end here of my increase, or like this elevated part. And now that I have 3 rows, I'm just gonna cut my yarn. I'll probably cut this somewhere here so I can use it to join the top after. I didn't do it on the other side, which I just forgot, but what I will do is I will do it on one side of each of the panels. That way I use it to join from just one. Okay, there you go. So this is how it should look like. Okay, so when you have your first panel completed that looks like this, then you're gonna go ahead and we start the second panel. Okay, so I'm gonna just repeat the exact same thing. Make sure the number of rows you have for the band in the bottom is exactly the same. Make sure the number of stitches you have here start is the same, and then make sure you complete it by doing the increase like this if you're doing this part of it. Okay, so when you have both of your panels completed, come back to the video and I will show you how to start the sleeves. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my 2 sleeves here in the dark gray color. So this is what I have. Just like I said to you guys, just repeat the tutorial, rewind the video, and then just repeat and have the second panel completed exactly the same. So now that we have completed these 2 panels, pretty much half of our work is done, but we're gonna put these guys on the side so we can start the sleeves panel. So as you have seen in the as you've seen in the pictures, obviously I have these 2 colors left, and you may be wondering how I'm gonna do it, but based on the pictures that you've seen, I do one sleeve in one of each of the colors. It's just a preference of mine. You don't have to do it like that. You can do this project in one solid color for all of the whole sweater, or you can have the same color, one of these, to do the sleeves, or however you want. But for me, I'm gonna do each sleeve is gonna be each of these colors here. I don't know why, I just thought it would be something neat to have. Okay, so I will just choose this one here to start the to show you guys how to do the sleeve. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get that started here. So again, we're gonna start very similar to what we did for the body panels, except for this, the first part of it that we start is gonna be more to fit our wrist as opposed to fitting our body. Okay, so it's gonna be a lot smaller, but I'm gonna also leave a long hanging yarn to be able to join after. And I'm just gonna start by doing a slip knot like we have been doing for the previous panels. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a chain of 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So again, this is obviously consistent to what we did for the body. Okay, and then we skip the first chain here, and in the next we're gonna go in the back and grab the back of the work to complete a single crochet like that. And then we're gonna go into the next. Again, we're grabbing the back part of the chain and completing single crochet. So as you can see, this is the front part of our chain here, and the back has these lumps that look like train tracks and I'm just grabbing those lumps in the back to complete my single crochet. Again, you don't have to do this in the back of the chain. You can just do it by grabbing, for example, just these loop here to complete your single crochets. But if you know me, you know I always try to go in the back because I find it neater and I find that it makes my work a little bit cleaner. Okay, so and then we just do our single crochets along the chain all the way to the last one. And because we skipped that first chain that our working yarn was coming through, then it means we only have 10 stitches here that we will be working with for the remaining of this part of the sleeve. Okay, so I'm coming to the end. So I'm doing my final one here, and this is the only kind of a little bit harder part of it because you have to make sure you grab the back of the chain, but it's very easy after that. Okay, so that's the first row completed. For the second row, I will chain 1 and turn, and then I will do from this point on, I'm gonna be grabbing the back loop of each stitch to complete my back loop single crochets. Okay, and the chain one that we do at the beginning of each of our row does not count as a stitch. So you will consistently have the 10 stitches for this part of the project. Okay, so I will show you the end of this row and then one more row, and then I will have you guys work up however many you need for your wrist, and I will explain how you can measure that to get the size that you need. Okay, so I'm going to my ninth. This is my ninth stitch here. For the 10th stitch, I go through both loops, and I've already explained in many projects why I do this. Okay, and then I will chain one and turn. Chain one does not count as a stitch, so in that very first stitch here, I'm gonna go in the back loop and complete my back loop single crochet, and I just continue to repeat this as long as it takes to get the length or the size that I want. Okay, so I will quickly explain to you what I mean by that, and then how we're going to work the number of rows that we need. So let me just finish this third row, and then we will talk for a second here. Okay, so again, go through both loops for the final. So I have my tape measure here. So the first thing that you will do is measure the wrist, your wrist here. So as you can see, I have a very small wrist. If I go just tight like this, it's actually literally 5 inches. Okay, but obviously I don't want my sweater to fit that tight, so I will most likely do it so that it's about, let's say, 8 to 9 inches for the looseness of my sleeve, something like this, even maybe 7. But then we're not going to do this part of it to just be 7 inches. We're going to be doing it to 7 inches, but we're going to do it when we really stretch our work, because if we put this flat down, it will probably be a little bit tight. So we need to stretch this part of it, stretch so that it comes up to about whatever length that you want here for the circumference of your wrist. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to work mine to fit what I think I want, and then when I have that done, I'm going to come back to the video so I can show you guys how to work the next part of this project. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed 30 rows here of my sleeve. So I kind of misexplained the information just a tiny bit in the previous clip. So I said that make what you want here to be the size when you stretch your work, but it's actually the exact opposite. So this length here should be without stretching your work, because this is when you put these on, it should be able to fit just like this. So I actually just realized I gave you the wrong information when I put it against my wrist. I want it to fit like this. It's nice and easy and loose, and it's not too uncomfortable. And the only way to do this is if I don't stretch it, because if I don't stretch it and to get the inches that I want, it would have been about that much, and this would be extremely tight on me. Like, I don't want it to be like this tight. Okay, so this length here, I think I said about 7 to 8 inches or something like that. This should be before you stretch your work. So let me just grab my tape measure here quickly. So so about 8 inches. So the 30 rows that I just did is about 8 inches, which is exactly what I want, because I incorporated the sizing that I gave you, which is the 8 inches, is I incorporated the looseness of it. So this is exactly what I want. Okay, so with that correction made and with this completed, I'm gonna go ahead now and show you how to start the next part of the row of the project. And this is going to be something that we need to do, because clearly when you put these around your wrist, it's not going to be the same for the widest part of your arm. So we do need to increase this part here, because we want it to start working out wider, so that it fits as you know, our arm gets wider as it goes up, or it gets bigger as it goes up. So we cannot rely on this to be the size that will fit your arm all the way up to the top of your the biggest part of your arm. So that is a good thing to do here, is to start to increase. So what I will do is I just start by doing a chain of 2. This chain of 2 counts as a double crochet. You may be wondering why I'm doing a chain of 2 as opposed to a chain of 3. It doesn't matter. Chain of 2, chain of 3, there's not too much of a big difference. I could have done a chain of 3 It's just with this, the edges here, I would like the edges here to be a little bit tighter so that it's not too loose. So just do a chain of 2. You can absolutely do a chain of 3, no problem, okay? And then what I will do is I will start to increase. The way I will increase is I will go into that same stitch right here, and I will do another double crochet. So now I have 2 double crochets at the beginning, my chain 2 counting as a double crochet, and the double crochet I just did. And then what I will do is on the top of this area here, I will go in and do 1 double crochet. So I'm gonna be increasing in every other section. So I just did 1 here, did 2 at the beginning, I did 1 here, and then in this dented area here, I'm gonna do 2 double crochets into that same space, okay? And it's just a pattern I did, or like the way to increase that I think will be the best to increase the work. And so on top of here, which is this section, I'm gonna go ahead and do 1 double crochet. And then in the valley area, the area that dents in, I will go ahead and grab and do 2 double crochets, okay? And I just alternate that all the way to the end. So 2 double crochets there, and then the next I do 1 double crochet. 2 double crochets here, and in the next I do 1 double crochet. Okay, so do this. I will do the same, alternate by just doing exactly what I showed you here. When you have gone all the way to the end, finish it off, or actually come back when you're almost at the end. Let's say you do your final 2 double crochets in this valley here. Come back to the video. I will show you how to finish it off and then how to start the next part of the project, okay? I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my first row here of the sleeve, and as you can see, I did 2 double crochets right in this valley area, and so now I have just these areas to work. So on top of here, I will go ahead and do 1 double crochet, and at the end here, I will go ahead and do 1 double crochet as well, just because I don't want it to kind of go too much to that side. So at the end, I actually end up doing 1 double crochet here and 1 double crochet here, as opposed to at the beginning where I did 2 double crochets at the beginning, okay? So as you can see, it's already beginning to kind of go outwards, and that is because of the increase. And so I'm going to show you then how to start the next row, and this is going to be where you start to do your granny stitches, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and begin again by doing a chain of 2 to begin the next row. So 1, 2, and then I will turn, and then in that same area, I'm gonna go ahead and complete 2 more double crochets, okay? So 1 and 2, and this is now my granny stitch right there. And then I will skip 1, 2 stitches, and in the third, I will go ahead and complete my 3 double crochets into that same stitch. So again, we are starting to do our granny stitches. So I skip 1, 2, in the third, I do 3 double crochets, okay? So this is the part that is gonna become easy, because this is all you have to do now. So 1, 2, in the third, I do my double crochet, 3 double crochets into the same stitch. And I'm gonna do this all the way until I get to the end. So work yourself until you have done maybe your second last stitch or something like that, and then come, because it's very possible that we don't have the number of stitches that we're gonna require to finish off. So I want to be able to just show you a workaround on that. But for now, just work your stitches until you get back to towards the end, like maybe around here, and then come back to the video. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my second row of the sleeve here, and as you can see, I just got really lucky. So I have obviously done my stitches, and as you can see, I am pretty much in the last 3 stitches to go, and so I have a good number of stitches for this. As you know, with the granny stitch, it's multiples of 3, and that's why you're able to do your granny stitch and then skip 2, and then granny stitch and then skip 2, because it's multiples of 3. And without counting at all, I just ended up having the number of stitches that I need to be able to do it. But let's say you had come and then you just have one stitch here, then in the next you will just work your granny stitch and there will be no problem. But because I have this stitch here and I have this and I have this, I have 3, so I will just go ahead and skip 1 2, and on top of the chain 2 that we did is where I will do my remaining granny stitch. Okay, so I'll go into that top and then I'll do my remaining 3 double crochets. Okay, so 2 and 3, like that. Okay, so that is how my second row looks like, my first row of the granny stitch but second in this section. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and do a chain of 3. So in this part here I will actually start with a chain of 3 because we do have to go from all the way from here to this gap here. So this is where you will start to do your chain of 3s. And again, there was nothing wrong with starting with a chain of 3 here. It's just, to me, it doesn't make a difference. Okay, but I think it's important to do the chain of 3 here because you do have to skip to here. You have to skip 3 double crochets to be able to work your next granny stitch, which is what we're doing now. So we just go into that section and complete your 3 double crochets. And I hope I didn't confuse you with that. I think it will just be better if you just do the chain of 3 from the beginning, so that it doesn't throw you off. But as you can see, it doesn't obviously make a difference to me. This is why I did a chain of 2 at the end here, and it did not make a difference to me. So but to be consistent, I think I will just ask you guys just to do the chain of 3 from the very onset. Okay, and then you just do your granny stitches, which mean you're skipping 3 double crochets, and then in the space you do your 3 double crochets, and then you skip the next 3 double crochets, and in the space you do 3 double crochets. And this is what you're gonna repeat until you pretty much have what you want in terms of the sleeve. And what I mean by that is you're going to measure from here all the way to where you want your sleeve to end. What I usually do, let me just bring the sweater, the main sweater back here. So what I usually do is when I put this against myself, how much of this is hanging off, and then I incorporate that in the length of my sleeve. Because if you go all the way, if you measure from your wrist all the way to the top of your shoulder, you may have sleeves that are too long because it's gonna need to mate this at some point to be able to be joined in, and so you're not incorporating this length here. So I say the way I do it and the way I find it the easiest to do is I actually use my tape measure and I measure from here all the way to under my armpit. I find that this measurement is a lot easier if I measure to the bottom of my armpit, because this is where it's gonna connect with the length with the sweater itself. Okay, because if you go to the top, you're gonna end up going a couple of inches longer than what you require. So that is what I will do. So let's say, let me just measure mine. I don't need to say anything. Let me just measure. So mine is about 18 inches. So I need to do a sleeve that is about 18, give and take 1 or 2 inches, but about 18 inches is what I need for my sleeve. So then it means I work this to 18 inches. So right now I already have 3. I need to work 15 more inches. And then when I have that, I will be okay. I'm going to show you guys something really quick as well, which I'm not going to do in this project, but in case you need to. So for those of you who may have a lot bigger arms and you need to make sure like this is even bigger than this, what you can actually do is you work this until you get to like where your, let's say your elbow. And then after your elbow, you can start to increase a little bit more as well. And the way you would increase in the granny stitch is, let's say I want to increase here. Okay, so if I was to increase here, instead of jumping from here to do my next cluster, I will just do a chain 1 here, and then I will go ahead and do 3 more double crochets into that same gap. So this would be an increase that I would do to make it so that it's even wider here. And then I would go into the next gap and I would go ahead and do, normal 3 double crochets like this. And then maybe I'll do another 3 double crochets here. That is not an increase. And let's say maybe based on how many increases per row I'm doing, then let's say this was an increase place, then I will just do my 3 double crochets here, and then chain 1 and then 3 double crochets into the same gap. You can also do so that you just do two. You can do two double crochets, but you see what I mean? So now you have this increase here, this increase here, let's say another increase here. So now this whole area here is increased by 3 more of these for the next row, because you will have one here instead of you will have one here, you will have one here, and then you will have one before. So only one of these counts into this, and then the other one is the increase. Okay, obviously this is one option. The other option, like I just said, is to do two. Like, let's say you don't like that it's too lumpy here, like it looks like this, it creates almost like a corner. You can do 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets into the same stitch like this. And as you can see, it's not as prominent as this in terms of it. And then, but you still have a gap here to work your 3 double crochets after, like in the next row. Okay, so I'm just explaining how you can increase a little bit there. So I'm not going to be doing it because I know what I have will fit me. So I'm not doing the increases with this project at all. All right, so go ahead and work the rest of the project here until you have the length. I will make sure I come to about the 18 inches that I need for my sleeve, and then I'll come back and I will show you guys how that looks. And then the second sleeve is just literally repeating the same thing. So, but let's see how our first sleeve looks like first. Okay, so go ahead and work and then come back when you're done. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my sleeve here. So as you can see, this is pretty much I pretty much left off where I showed you guys the second row here, and then I worked the rest of it until I had the length that I want. I'm just gonna double check the length again, but I was looking about around 18 inches for my sleeve, the length of my sleeve, and I think I should be at that. I know I did about 40 rows, so 40 rows of the granny stitch, not adding the double crochet plus the calf area. Yeah, so I have about, I don't know if you can see it, but I have about, about a little bit under 18. It's like 17 3/4. Okay, so which is okay. Like I can do one more row, but I don't need to, because that little tiny part of it is not gonna make a big difference. But yeah, this is what I have. Like I said, I did 40 rows of the granny stitches, so 41 with these here, with the double crochet row that we did to make the increases. And so yeah, this is it. So I cut my yarn off and I left a little bit of it hanging because we will obviously need to join this to the body of the sweater. And so this part of it is done, and we have a second sleeve to do, and we have this color here, so that we will need to do the lighter pink, that we will need to do the second sleeve in. So I'm gonna go ahead and just repeat what I did here. Make sure you start by doing your 30 or however many rows you did for your first sleeve, and just make sure you are following exact same thing. I would also advise that when you do your double crochets here for the second sleeve, make sure you count to make sure when you do your second one that you have the same amount of stitches here. Because if you have, let's say you have 30 or 40 here, and then in the second one you have 35, or you have way more than that, then it's gonna create the sleeve to be a little bit bigger than the first one. So just that's the only thing that you will need to do for the second, to make sure you're creating a panel that is exactly the same as the other one. And then of course make sure you do the same number of rows for the second sleeve, so that you don't end up with one sleeve that is shorter than the other. And then of course at the end we're gonna end up having to join this to the body, and as you can see, this is how my sleeve will look when I have it joined to the body. Okay, so it's gonna kind of probably go like this. The body is here and this is like this. Okay, all right, so go ahead and complete your second panel and then come back to the video, and then I will go ahead and we'll talk about how to join it to the body, and how to join all 4 panels, and then how to then eventually finish it off by doing the neckline. Okay, see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my second sleeve here as well. So as you can see, I did this is the first one that we completed together, and as you can see, it's exactly the same length, same everything, because obviously I just duplicated the second from the first, and this is what we have. So this is just a different color, but I have the exact same thing pretty much kind of duplicated, so that we have even sleeves. Okay, so I have this, and then I have my second one here, which is in the lighter pink, in the darker pink. And so now we have all the 4 sleeves completed, or the 4 panels completed. So we have 2 body sleeves panels. I keep saying sleeve. I think it's because the last thing I did was sleeves. Yeah, so we have all of our 4 panels here. So it's just a matter of joining them together, and then we will have a sweater, and then of course we'll work on the neckline. So I will begin by working on the body panels. So we'll put the sleeve panels on the side, and then I will just kind of put down my sleeve panels here. So I will join on the side that is going to be the inside. And how do you determine that? It's going to be up to you. So I'm gonna put it down like this, and this part that is facing up is going to be the part that will be the outside of my panel, of my sweater. And then so what I will do is I will place the second one on top, which means then this side that I have here is going to be the inside, because what's gonna happen is this is gonna be flipped eventually, and then I will have this as the inside and this as the inside. Okay, all right. Now that I have my panels lined up like this, and as you can see, I told you guys to cut it so that there's a long string to join. And of course, because of how I did it, I have 2 on the same side. I hate when that happens, but it's okay. We have enough of the gray still left to be able to just cut another piece and join the work here. Oh, so I am going to then just thread my threading needle here, and as you can see, I'm just gonna line up my work perfectly like that, and I'm just gonna join up here. And the way I will do it is I will go into the first stitch here and go through, and I'll go into that same stitch one more time just to kind of make sure that that part here is secure and solid. And then I will just go and line up the stitches. I will go into the next and grab both loops, and don't pull it too hard because you don't want your work to wrinkle up. And then you just go ahead and line up each stitches from one panel to the other, and then you just kind of work yourself along. Okay, just go. And I'm working like this. I don't usually work from left to right, but because my string ended up on the inside, I have no choice but to work from left to right. But usually I prefer to work from right to left because I'm right-handed. But the problem is not a problem. So as you can see, I am just going towards the end here, and I hope I have enough yarn to finish these off. I think I will. And then I just go, and then for this one I go, and then now at the very end I'm just gonna go into there like this and complete that, and then I will do one more in that same stitch. And now I will bring my yarn that is almost running out, and I will loop it around the tip of the threading needle. And what this does is it simulates a slip stitch. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna just remove this, and as you can see, this is how it looks like on the side that is going to be the inside. And if I flip it, this is how it looks like on the side that is going to be the outside of the sweater. Okay, so very simple. And then I'll turn it around, and on this side here I will do the same, but because I actually don't have the yarn to work with here, what I will actually just do with this is I will knot it, because it will make it easy to keep the work here. Why not? Because I don't have, it's not long enough for me to work with it. So I'll just do that. Okay, I will grab some of my gray. Let me cut these off here. And as you can see, I just cut a small piece, not too much, because it's just a small section here to join. And then I'll again go ahead and thread my threading needle. And this is often one of the most challenging things I can do, but you do it and it just works. And then because now I can just choose where I work from, I will work from this side. So again, on top of the very first part here, I go through, and then I will knot these as soon as I bring it through. and I will just do a knot here because I don't want to pull it and go completely through it and then undo it. Okay, so I'll knot it twice, and then now that is done, I am going to go into the very first stitch here and complete my first joining, and then into the next stitch I just line it up. So you just have to line it up. You have even number of stitches here, like they all line up perfectly, so you don't have to stress too much about counting or doing whatever. You just have to go ahead and join your work along like this. And like I said, please do not pull too much because you will leave your work looking a little bit wrinkly up here because the joining is too tight. Okay, so you don't want to do it too tight. And again, for those of you who join using other methods, please go ahead and use the method you use. This is just one that I use. So if this is not something that makes you happy or pleases you, just use the technique that you use and we're all good, as long as you sew or join the top here. And a lot of people use like single crochet, for example, to join, or they use slip stitches to join. So just follow what pleases you, please. This is not, we're not going to dictate who does what and how. Okay, and then for the last one, again, I've already gone through it once. For the second time, I'm going to go like this, and then that again, like I say, simulates a single crochet or a slip stitch. And then as soon as you do that, you just grab your work and you kind of just mold it a little bit to make sure it's flat, and then that's it. Again, if you look at the other side, it just looks something like that. Okay, so now we have this vest area kind of done in that way. And so what I would normally advise from this point on is to flip your work. So for example, we need to continue joining on this side, which is going to be the inside. So I'm going to flip my work like this and put it down flat like this. And I will choose one of the sleeves. It doesn't matter which one, in my opinion, because the sweater will be worn whether one side is on the other side, and next time you can have the hot pink here on the left of your sleeve as your left sleeve, and next time you can have it as the right of your sleeve. So it's not a big deal. Okay, so what I do, if you can see that on camera, let me move it a little bit down like this. Okay, so what I will do, because we do have literally things that we can count, is I will count how many of these, let's say holes, let's just say these gaps. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. I have 16 of these gaps here, so which means that I will also count to make sure I have 8 on this side and 8 on this side. So in the from the very middle, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, I know that I'm gonna start my sleeve right here. Can you see? I'm gonna start here. So what I will do is I will just put a darning needle. I will just put a stitch marker there, and then I'll count on this side from the middle again. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and then on this side, on the 8th, I will also put a slip marker there, like a stitch marker there. So now all I have to do is just flip it like this, and then just join my work from this end to this end. Okay, it's very simple. I'm not going to show you obviously how to do that because I've already showed you how to join, or maybe I will, maybe I should, I will. Okay, and as you can see, I had left this string hanging here. I don't think it's going to be enough to go across, so I will just cut another new yarn, and it can be the gray or it can be the hot pink. It does not matter, as long as you have one of those to join these here. So let me go ahead and grab a yarn that I can use to join here, whichever one I have my quick access to, and then I will show you how to just kind of get started a little bit here, and then I will have you guys join to the other side as well. Okay, so just give me a second. Okay, so I decided to go with the gray just because it's literally closest to me. I think I just the pink is somewhere else. So this is the closest to me, so I got this. And as you can see, I cut and left a really long one because I want to use the same obviously on the other side. So yeah, so that's it. So I'm just going to show you then how to just start here. So as you can see, I'll just remove the stitch marker so I can have easy access to the stitch here. So I just have to go, I will go on top of this. So you see this, the cluster of double crochets here, I will go into that, and then I'll go on top of the on the second chain of the chain 3 that we did here at the end. And then I'm just gonna pull, 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 and then when I'm almost towards the end of the string, I'm gonna knot that so that I don't lose it. So I do 1 and 2 knots like that. And then now I just have to make sure I'm consistently keeping these straight to be able to join it evenly across. So then I will just go and I will grab the stitch here and I will join that. Okay, and then I'll go into the next and I'll just grab the section here. Let me do it from here, from the very top, and I will bring that through. So with these here, as you can see, the hot pink have stitches that we can follow, but the gray does not have stitches we can follow. So it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Just make sure you're kind of lining up. Just you look at the opposite side and you go, okay, so there's a stitch right here. So if I go through here, it lines up to the stitch on the other side, and then just work it. This is literally easy if you just don't stress yourself. I have a stitch on the opposite side, so which means if I go here, I can just line it up to the opposite side, and that's it. And you just do that. And again, just like we did the top of the sweater, don't pull it too hard because you don't want it to look a little bit kind of pulled and wrinkled up. Okay, so just like this, and then you just go across. So I will ask you guys to do this all across until you get to the other side. When you get to here, do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So just flip your work like this, get your other sleeve, put it against it, and I would say continue to work with the color that you have worked with, because this is the from the body. And then when you have that completed, come back and I will show you how to then join the sides and how to join the sleeve, the two parts of the sleeve together. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have completed both of the sleeves, put in, join to the body of the sweater like this. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and joined my second sleeve here. So this is pretty much how it looks like when it's connected to it. So you can see that there's an even number of space from here to here, and this is just, I find it easier when you put it down like this to be able to kind of measure and make sure it's centered. So yeah, so this part is done. As you know, when I left, I had just showed you guys how to finish the other part, which is this other color. So both of my sleeves have been now joined to the body of the sweater. So all I will have to do is just flip it like this. So as you can see, I just flip it. The work is now really big, so it's a little bit hard to kind of maneuver it and to make sure everything is seen on camera. But like, yeah, so it's pretty much something that looks like this now. Okay, I don't know if you can see that properly. So I have my body of the sweater here. The sleeve is connected on this side, and the other sleeve is connected to the other side. Okay, so now all I have to do is join here. I'll go ahead and show you this. So I have the yarn that I had left earlier, and so now all I have to do is just join the sleeve from the base here, and you're still working on the same side. So the same side that you had used to join the body to the sleeves is the same side that you're using to join the sleeves together. So you will just have to line these up like this, nice and neat. You thread your needle here and then just join across all the way to the base of the armpit here. And then you will make sure you use the gray. I have some of the gray that I had left. It may not be enough. And then you just join the gray all the way, and it meets up in the bottom here. So this will be you joining your body on the side shut, and then the bottom of the sleeve shut. And then you just do the exact same thing on the other side. I have this light pink that I had left when I started the sleeve. You're gonna use that to join it all the way to the bottom of the sleeve, and then you're gonna use the other gray that you had left to join all the way, joining it up here. So by the time that you do these 4 sections that you're gonna join, the sweater is going to be now something that you can technically wear, but we're going to be working on the neckline. I would like to do something a little bit different here for the neckline, so come back for that. So after you join all of your the whole project is joined, and now you just have the top to do, then come back and I'll show you how to do the top here, and we'll go ahead and finish it off. And also while you're off line, you can go ahead and start weaving in all the little strings that we have everywhere, so that when you come for us to work on the neckline, you have already kind of either cut off all the strings that are hanging or weave them in, okay? So yeah, go ahead and do that. I will see you guys when it's time to work on the neckline. See you then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and pretty much joined all the panels of my sweater. So as you can see, the sleeves are on, the sides are solid, as you can see here, and I still have these flipped on the side that's gonna be the inside. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to then go ahead and flip it the right way, because we're gonna do the neckline, but we're gonna do it while it's facing the right side out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flip my sweater so we have the other side showing. And by the way, also by joining your sweater on the side that is the wrong side, you get to hide all the imperfections of joining, all the imperfections of all the yarn that you had to cut off from just whatever was left over from doing rows and things like that. And as you can see, I'm just using my hand to straighten my sweater and to make sure that it's nice and even. Okay, so the same thing here. So I just run my hand across this side like this from the inside. That way I can just kind of pull this side out, so it doesn't kind of have a little bit of a fold going inwards, as you can see here. If you can see, there's a little bit of a dent. So I just do the same thing here, where I just put my hand through, or actually even better yet, I just go ahead and do a pull like this. That way it straightens this part of it here. Okay, but this is something you can also do at the end of the project. You don't have to do it right now. But now I have a dilemma. I don't know if you guys, I don't know what you guys will think. Obviously, I cannot ask for your opinion right now, but I'm gonna do the neckline here. I'm gonna just kind of make it nice by doing a couple of rows of a stitch. But I don't know, I was gonna do it in the gray because I still have more of each of these colors left, and I don't know whether to do it in the gray or do it in one of these colors here. And I'm thinking, I think this is a nice color. I think I will do it in this color. But now I have a little bit of a regret, because I wish I had done the bottom here in one of these colors. Because if I had done it, let's say with this color here, and then I finish off the neckline in the following color, it would have been so nice. But anyways, no regrets. There's a regret, but I don't want to regret what I have done. But anyways, so I'm now deciding whether to do this in gray or one of these colors. And I think I'm keep gravitating towards this pink here, the darker pink. This is the lighter pink. I think I prefer this darker pink, so I think I'm going to do the neckline in the darker pink. I don't know, hopefully it's going to look nice, but I think it will. So I'm gonna go ahead and just bring it here, and I'm gonna do a couple of rows here to create a nice solid neckline. And to do that, just like we have been doing the project, we're gonna I'm gonna go ahead and do a slip knot here. Okay, so just something like this, and then I'm gonna grab one of the corners. So let's say I grab this corner here, and then I'm just gonna put my hook through here, and then I'm gonna bring the yarn through. So the loop that I had just created, I'm gonna bring that through. Then I'm gonna hold this guy tight. I can hold it on my right hand side like this, and then I will do a chain of 2. This chain of 2 counts as a double crochet. And then what I will do is on each of the stitches here, so in the next stitch here, I will do a double crochet. Then I will move on to the next stitch and do a double crochet. And then I will put one in the gap. So there's this gap here that separates our clusters of double crochet. I'll put one there. Then I will hop on to the other side and do a double crochet, and then another double crochet. So anyways, as you can see here, I'm going to pretty much start by doing a row of double crochets around the neckline, and then I am going to do our favorite type of a stitch for necklines, which at least for me it is mine. Maybe it's not for you, but for me, I like to do my necklines in the front post, back post double crochets, because it creates a nice solid and good looking neckline. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of go around and complete my double crochets as you see me doing here. You should have something that looks like that. And then I'm going to do these all around. When you come to the top here where we join the two sides, so you will obviously do a double crochet here, put 2 double crochets in this gap here, 1 on top, 2 here, and then on the side that doesn't have actual stitches, so these areas here, you will do 2 here and then 2 in this gap here. And then when you get to the side that has the normal stitches, then you just go into every stitch. Okay, so or what we do here, not necessarily every stitch, because there's a stitch here that we're not working into, but that is compensated by the fact that we're working into the center. So as you can see here, I'm going to go into the center and then 1 2. So instead of working on all 3 of the double crochets, we work on the 2, because the center here compensates for this final stitch. So we go into the center. Okay, so do that all around. When you come back here, I will come back to the video and I will show you how to start the first row of the front post, back post double crochet. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my double crochets around the neckline. So as you can see, if I put it down, I have something that looks something like this. And this is not it, so we're gonna obviously continue. And as you can see here, I just did my 2 double crochets in this stitch, the previous double crochet stitch of the previous previous stitches. And so now I'm back to here, so I'm gonna go ahead and just go 1 2 and slip stitch on top of that chain 2 that we began this row with. Okay, and then now that I have that, I'm going to start my front post, back post double crochets. And to do that, I'm gonna begin by doing a chain of 2, and then in the very first stitch here, I'm going to go around the back and grab my yarn towards the front and then complete a double crochet. For those of you who know how to do the front post, back post double crochet, this is gonna be something so easy for you. But for those of you who are not aware of what this stitch is, I'm just showing a few of those for you. And then for the back post double crochet, you yarn over and then you bring the yarn towards the back. And then when you have your 3 loops on the hook, you yarn over, go through the first 2 and then go through the second 2. And then for the front post, you go and grab it towards the front and then complete your double crochet. And then the next one is a back post double crochet. The next is a front, and then you just alternate these all the way until you come back here. Okay, so just work yourself alternating this stitch until you come back here. When you get to here, come back. I will show you how to begin the next row, and then we will talk about how many rows you need to do for your neckline. It's gonna be absolutely up to you. So but complete this row, come all the way back to here, and then I will show you what to do next, and then we will go ahead and finish off the number of rows on our own. Okay, so see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my first row of the front post, back post double crochet here. So as you can see, this is pretty much how it looks like so far. Okay, and so I'm gonna show you guys how to start the second row, which is the 3rd row in total for this color that we're doing for the neckline. And I've just done my front post double crochet in that stitch here. So we don't do anything in this stitch because it's kind of is aligned up with the chain 2 that we started. So all we have to do here is just go on top of the chain 2 and complete your slip stitch. Okay, so then it looks like that. And then for the 3rd row, we're going to begin by chain 2, and then now all you do is just follow the pattern. So this stitch here is it's protruding towards me, which is the previous front post double crochet. I'm just going to do a front post double crochet on that. And then the next one is a back post double crochet, so I'm just gonna do a back post double crochet on it. And then I do a front post in the next, and then a back post double crochet in the next, and then front post double crochet in the next, and then I just continue to follow that around until I come back here I will do my final front post double crochet on here, and then I'll slip stitch on top of this chain 2. And if I need to do another row, then I'll complete another row. If you want to stop after this one row, then it's up to you. I don't know how many rows I'm gonna do yet total for my neckline. What I will probably do is I will do 3, try it on, see how it looks. If I need to add another row, I will go ahead and do that, and that's what I will do after each row or 2 rows. I will try it on to see how it looks on my neckline. And then when I achieve the look that I want, then I'll come back and I'll tell you how many rows I ended up doing, and then we will go ahead and pretty much kind of complete the project, okay? But for now, just go ahead and work your front post double crochets until you achieve the length or the size that you want, and then come back to the video. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my 3rd row in the front post back post double crochet, and I think I will stop there because as you can see, it is already building kind of a length here. I just tried my sweater on. I love the way it looks with that length on it, on the collar part. So I'm gonna stop here. So I've just completed my 3rd row here, and now I'm just gonna slip stitch on top of the chain 2 that we started the row with, like that. And then I'm gonna bring in my scissors and I'm gonna cut my yarn somewhere there. I'm gonna put the remaining away, and then I will do a slip stitch like this to be able to kind of just solidify that there. So now when we put our work down like this is how my neckline looks, okay? So again, if you had actually made sure that this went in a little bit further in, then you would have a neckline that would have been kind of looking like this. But as you can see, I have a little bit of wider neckline. I like it like this. It's gonna create a comfort so that this is not too kind of close to your neck. Yeah, so the only thing, because I've weaved in every single thing, every single strand that was hanging, I have already weaved it in. The only ones that I have is just where I ended my work here and where I started my work. So I'm gonna just kind of do this quickly. I will also show you how I do it, especially when I do work that has a very gappy pattern like this, because I don't like to weave it in. I find that it comes off. So what I do is, out of these 3 strands, I just split it so that there's 2 on one side, 1 on the other, and then I just bring it in. So obviously this side is the inside of my work, and then I just kind of bring the 2, and you make sure they come out on different parts because you want to be able to do a knot on it. And then now that I have it like this, I just do a knot. So I'll knot it once, twice, let's go for 3 times. 3 times, and oopsie, so yeah, that side is already off. It just kind of snapped because it's the weaker side that has 1 strand, and then the other side I'll just cut off like this, okay? So that way, this is the outside of my work. It just looks like that, so no imperfections at all. And then this is the where I started the work. I will do the same thing. I will split it in it's not quite half because it's 2 on one side, 1 on the other, but I'm gonna do that, and then I just kind of unweave it to untwist it, and then I will put my hook like this and bring the other one back into this side, but looping it around so that when I do a knot, I'm not knotting a place that is not that is still gonna come apart. So then I just do these 3 times as well, like that, and then I take my scissors and I just cut both of these off like this. Okay, and again, because this is on the inside, I don't have to worry about it like showing on the other side. So the other side looks like this, okay? So this is pretty much it. So like I said, I've weaved in all the ends. This is the end of the project. So I really like that I did the collar here, or the neckline, in a different color. And the only thing, like I said, I wish I had started the bottom here with this color, because then it will be this color in the bottom, the gray in the middle, the neckline in the other side of the sleeve, because we do the 2 sleeves in different colors like this. But it's okay, not a problem. If you want to obviously start yours like that, you can absolutely change it and do it differently. But anyways, this is the end of the project here. I actually enjoyed this quite a lot. I love the way this sweater turned out. Very comfortable because I just tried it on. It's very, very comfortable. Something you can throw on with a tank top inside in the winter, and you put these on, you're gonna be warm for days. And as well, even as the fall time is coming, you can do the same, where you can go out on like chilly nights and have these on, and you'll be as comfortable as it can be. Okay, so this is it here. And of course, when you put it on, both the front and the back are exactly the same, so you don't have to worry about what side. And the fact that the sleeves are different colors, it's actually really cool, because you can choose to have it so that the pinks, the dark pink is on the right hand side one time, and then this is on the left, and then you can swap so that this is on the right side and this is on the left. Anyways, I may be talking just about nonsense that don't make any difference. But yeah, this is the end of our project here. So thank you so much for watching the video to the end. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate those who comment. I appreciate those who like and share. I appreciate everybody who subscribes because you like what you see. I must say that I'm really happy to see comments from a lot of people who just literally say how they were searching to get a very clear tutorial, and when they found mine, they're extremely happy because I explain in a clear way. But of course, the opposite side of that is people who say I talk too much, or like, you know, I over explain. But to me, I would rather over explain than under explain, and then people are lost and they don't really understand how the tutorial goes. So I appreciate all the comments, whether it's a criticism or it's a you know, giving me a thumbs up, pro. I appreciate all of it. But I have to teach the way I know how to teach, right? So if I teach the way somebody else wants me to, then I'm not really being honest with myself, or I'm not being true to myself. So I just have to teach the way I teach. My channel is geared towards beginners, so I have to explain in complete details how to do something, so they're not lost when they're trying out a project. Okay, all right, so you see, I'm talking too much already. Well, thank you again, guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.